Hello, this is Ransom1690 back here with another video. And I have kind of a special video today because in this video I'm gonna be playing a clip from this YouTuber. And before I play it, I'm gonna talk a little bit about who this person is. I'm not gonna say what his YouTube channel is because just out of respect for his privacy and the fact that, he's already been dealing with a lot of shit in his life. But to add like some context, I have been following this guy since I had graduated high school. And like back in 2013, he would make videos about like how he was going through the same shit, trying to find jobs and not having any luck. And, I was feeling that shit because, of course, I told y'all I was going through the same shit around that time. And it's like, I have been following this guy for a decade. And his entire situation since then have only gone from bad to worse. And it's like he was able to secure like some jobs here and there, but like as he would say, he would either get scammed out of one of his jobs, which he said he was working in a fucking kitchen at the time. And I think he said it was so bad that the restaurant he was working in, it actually ended up on Hell's Kitchen. And then it's like all sorts of other shit started happening, like the restaurant closed down, the commute was bad, and then he said he was living in his dad. He went from there to losing the house that his mom was living in, and she unfortunately passed. But it's like after she passed, he lost the house because it got too expensive to pay. He wound up living in his dad's kitchen, which he would he would show clips of that. And it was real fucked up, just to see. And it's like after that, he wound up homeless after his dad, I think he said he got evicted or some shit. And so this all happened like within a decade time period. And he has been homeless now for 5 years. And I'm not going to say which state he's living in, but the reason why I'm not going to put anything or say who this YouTuber is because, he be dealing with a bunch of trolls and shit, a bunch of fucked up people who just want to look at his situation and make it worse. And, it's this whole meme going around where, oh, he's a scammer, he's scamming, he's just trying to get money out of people. And people fucking act like they know what the fuck they talking about. They telling him, oh, you need to get a different job and stop doing Ubering, because he does Uber now. But, there were points where he did get a job. Like he got a job working as like I don't know what the fuck it's called, but it's like, they blow trash around or some shit. And then people still want to talk shit. Like, oh, that's not a real job. That's not a real job. You need to fucking find something else. Like just being condescending about it. And, I understand everyone has their flaws. That, it's probably a bit something that people can do better. But it's like the lengths these people go through to kick a man while he's already down. Like they have called his jobs to get him fired off of it. Like we're talking about fucking terrible levels of trolling. People feel like they just want to be some type of way, and so they start calling up his jobs just to fucking get him fired and shit. And, granted, he does put too much information out about himself. Like, he be putting a lot of shit out where people is able to find his ass and knowing where, like, he's posted up at or where he working and shit. And that's primarily one of the reasons why I ain't ever gonna fucking show my face or reveal any personal information about myself. But, because of that, people be able to find his ass and, like, call these jobs up, get him fired and shit. And, he be trying to post up somewhere. They be, because, again, he's fucking homeless. He gotta live in a damn car and shit. They be trying to call the authorities or, to get him kicked off of the property and shit. And it's like, why the fuck you gotta go kick a man when he's already down? And this is the shit that I be talking about with this society is like, people out here, they just fucking cruel. They just want you to suffer and shit. And it's like, I understand what this guy is going through because I already talked about some of my situation. And he really didn't get into it until recently. That, this shit he's going through now, like it goes way back to when he was a kid and shit, like to how his parents are. And this is going to really get into why I say like this whole sex shit is evil and why, like, I believe there needs to be fucking law restrictions placed on this sex shit because there are parents out here who are having children who just does not need to have fucking children. And it's this audio I'm going to play that's going to prove exactly that. And I guess it's an old audio of his mother just flipping the fuck out. And like he is just now coming forward with all this, just how his dad was. His dad, like, I try not to be real judgmental, but it's like, he ain't really had no good father figure. His dad seemed to be more interested in being a fucking woman than being a father figure to his kid. And, I'm not trying to fucking be judgmental about that type of shit. Like, if you want to fucking change genders or some shit, then, hey, you do you. But it's like, don't bring a fucking kid into that shit, And I think he said, like, he was growing up around a time period where that was frowned upon. So it's like it affected a lot of shit. So it's like, if you want to fucking do your own life or go off doing what you want to do, then I would implore not to fucking bring no kid into that shit if it's something that can possibly affect the kid. And I think he said, like, this, what his father was doing, like, it affected him greatly. And then he say his fucking mother and father, like, it caused a rift in the family where they actually wound up getting divorced. And his mom went in shame and, like, just became really abusive. And that hence the audio that I am about to play right now. And I warn you, like, this shit is very fucking disturbing to listen to. Like, this is the sound of a mentally deranged woman who should never have brought a fucking kid into this world. And because of the decisions of these two parents, the child, who is now a grown man who has to figure this life out for himself with no proper direction, no one to teach him anything, is now suffering for it. And, we can say, oh, well, he's a grown man, he needs to take responsibility for his own actions. But it's like I said in the past, you don't come into this fucking world knowing damn near anything. This isn't some shit where, when you turn legally into an adult, when you turn 18, you just know everything. You just know what to fucking do. If you ain't being taught shit, you got shitty parents who ain't teaching you nothing. And, a school system that ain't fucking preparing you for shit except how to pass a fucking test. you ain't gonna know what to do. And granted, there are people out there who's able, I'm sorry, who's able to overcome this shit on their own. But it's extremely hard. It's extremely hard and it's extremely grueling. But what you don't hear about, again, is the people who don't succeed. And this is one of them. And it's like this fucking audio that I'm about to play. Like this woman, she should have never fucking had a child. She should never have brought anyone else into this world to deal with this bullshit. So I'm gonna play this fucking audio and then I'm gonna get back to you with further thoughts.
I'm sorry to bring that out! Woman! Wow! Idiot! Wow! Wow! Idiot! Wow! Clean up! Non-bathroom, idiot! Clean it up! Idiot! 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 Idiot!
And that's the fucking audio. Now, I don't know about y'all, but that shit's really fucking disturbing to listen to. Like, you can clearly hear this woman is unhinged. Like, she's yelling crazy. She's fucking calling him, this guy who was 15 at the time, like an idiot, this and that, just really just going off. And like he is just now coming out with all this. And you know, you got people saying like, oh, well, you're living in the past, stop living in the past. But what people don't understand is that the shit that go on in your past, like having terrible parents like that, can really fucking affect your life going into your adults, especially when you don't have any guidance. And you know, this ain't no just some shit where, oh, well, you just go to some fucking therapy. No, because you need actual solutions. Like, you know, this fucking world doesn't care about no goddamn therapy. They care about the fucking green piece of paper. So what it takes is resources. It takes fucking help people who give a shit to actually help people who's in need, who's going through this type of stuff. And not just assholes who want to be condescending and be judgmental because, oh, well, he still haven't got his life yet and he's fucking 25 years old or he's 30 years old. And oh, you still don't got your shit together. You still homeless. And that's one of the things, like, you know, I was listening to old video from T Sizzle where he kind of talks about that, like where people want to be judgmental, especially the older generation. They want to be judgmental, like, oh, you ain't got your shit together, what's wrong with you? But it's like, y'all ain't did nothing for y'all fucking kids. Y'all were 25 years old bringing kids into this world and just y'all ain't doing shit for y'all kids. Y'all working a fucking 9 to 5. Y'all ain't leave no inheritance. Y'all ain't taught your kids shit. You just fucking did the bare minimum and then waited for your kids to turn fucking 18 and then, okay, now get out of my house. Like what my fucking mom's been doing. And see, and this shit, this is why I say that we shouldn't bring kids into this world, because there are just people out here like these fucking trolls, like I mentioned, who just don't give a fuck. Like they feed off of negative energy. They just like to make people's lives who's already down and out even worse than what it already is. And like it's just fucking crazy. And this woman, like, she should never have had a fucking kid. She should never have brought a child into a situation where he was gonna have to deal with his fucking dad not being a dad and her bitch ass going insane, like off the deep end. And after they got divorced, like neither of them should have done that shit, and that's just one of the craziest things. You know, you gotta go through all this shit to get a fucking job. You gotta go through an interview. You gotta go through further education, go through all this bullshit. You wanna be a police officer, you gotta get the proper credentials for it. But there ain't no proper credentials for who should and shouldn't have fucking children. Like, this shit's just insane. And just, I don't fucking get it, man. Like, this shit's just insane. Like, this is why I really just don't be wanting nothing to do with this fucking society. You know? Because just the stuff that people find normal, just bringing a child into a world where they have to go through shit like I just played, where they gonna potentially be taken advantage of by trolls, by just people who just want to harass you, or just get off on your pain and suffering. Like, it's not right. But this is what I wanted to get on here and say. Like, this is just more reasons why I do not approve of reproduction, of sex. And it's like, again, there should at least be some fucking laws on this shit, I think. Because, again, just like people like my mom, my fucking biological dad, and this crazy ass thing who was yelling to the top of her lungs in this audio, people like this should never be allowed to have children. It is crazy. It's fucking crazy. But then when these same kids, when they grow up to be fucking psychos, we want to say like, oh, they're a menace to society. Like they this, they that. They just paint the most possibly negative picture. You know, you go through all this shit in your life, have no direction, no way to get out of it. So you go and say like, man, fuck this shit, man. I'm gonna fucking go rob a place or go fucking do some shit. Because shit, don't no one care about me anyway. But then we want to slap the book at them and say, oh, they're a menace, they're a threat to society. That's why I say, like, you know, I would have been found just never have been born into this shit. I would have been fine with just have never needing to have been born into this a bullshit world like this that expects so much out of you, but the fucking people who supposed to raise and teach you how to navigate this life don't do shit. And there ain't no consequences for that. It's crazy. But that's what I wanted to get on here and say. Like, this is my thought for today. But yeah.